We gotta move on.
Anyway.
Longest running segment on Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. Diversity with Delilah. Let's go. And this week, Delilah is bringing us Bo Jackson.
Bono's got the air thing.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God! All right, listen. I had to do Bo Jackson. One, I love baseball as much as I love football. Well, I like sports in general. I also watch a lot of basketball. But because we're coming upon soon to figure out who's going off to the playoffs and the World Series, so I figured I will feature an NFL player that's been known also for their MLB, prowess, right? So Bo Jackson, as everybody knows, he was born and raised in Alabama. And this one's a long one because, he's done a lot. Oh, yeah. So I will start off with the fact that he is the only professional athlete in history to be named an all-star in baseball and football.
Oh, wow.
Right? So he is the only, right now, it doesn't mean it won't happen, but right now, he's the only athlete who's been named to the all-star team in both baseball and football.
Yeah.
And that's just one achievement. All right, so let's go kind of back in time. He went to high school in McCalla where, he kicked butt as a running back with 1,175 yards his senior year, as well as playing baseball where he hit 20 home runs in his baseball season, in his senior season. He was a 2-time state champion in a decathlon. So not only was he killing it on football and baseball, he was actually an all-around athlete. So he was a 2-time state champion in the decathlon. Both times he was the decathlon state champion. He built up such a commanding point lead in the 1,500 meters that he actually never competed. He was so good in the 1,500 meters that he felt that was beyond him. He's like, he might as well not do it. In 1982, Jackson set state school records for indoor high jump at 6'9" and triple jump at 48.8 inches. Again, he qualified for the NCAA Nationals in the 100-meter dash as a freshman and sophomore. He actually did consider pursuing a career in track and field, but he realized it didn't pay as much if he went to the MLB and NFL.
Yep.
So that's the only reason he said, I'm not going to do track and field, because he actually realized the monetary wasn't there. Right. And so that's why he decided to focus on baseball and football, because he knew that's where the money was. So in 1982, Jackson was selected by the New York Yankees, actually, in the second round of the 1982 Major League Baseball draft. But he actually chose to go to Auburn University on a football scholarship because he promised his mom he will get a college education. See what we do for our mamas? So he said, I'm really great at baseball. I just got drafted. But he decided to go to college at Auburn University on a football scholarship because he promised his mom he will be the first person in his family to actually go to a major college and graduate.
Yeah. So
that's why Bo Jackson forwent the baseball draft at that point and decided to pursue football. That's kind of what happened. During his time playing for the Auburn Tigers, he ran 4,303 career jobs, which was the 4th best performance in the SEC history. Mm-hmm. So again, 4th place. Jackson finished his career with an average of 6.6 yards per carry, which set the SEC record again of a minimum of 400 rushes. So basically, he broke a lot of records, right? In 1983, as a football player, as a sophomore, he rushed for 1,213 yards, 158 carries for an average of 7.7 yards per carry, which was the 2nd best single season average, again, in SEC history. So basically, he went to the SEC and just started smashing records, right? In 1983, the Auburn-Alabama game, Jackson rushed 256 yards on 20 rushes, which at the time, again, the 6th most rushing yards gained in a game in SEC history. and the second best yard per rush average in a game. Auburn finished the season by winning the Sugar Bowl against Michigan, where Jackson was named the MVP in 1984, Jackson's junior year. Basically, he was hurt for the most part, but he also got MVP again as honors during the Liberty Bowl after defeating. This is just his football college. Again, he's not playing baseball because that's what he went to Auburn for, was on a football scholarship. Right now, it's all football. So again, that's basically what's going on with him. In 1985, Jackson rushed again, as I was saying, for 1,786 yards, was the second best single game season performance in SEC history. For his performance in 1985, Jackson was awarded the Heisman Trophy, so he is a Heisman winner in what was considered the closest margin of victory ever in history of the award, where he beat, at that point, University of Iowa quarterback Chuck Long. Yeah, he beat him out by a little bit for the Heisman. In 1986, he received the Golden Plate Award of the American Academy of Achievement, presented by the Awards Council member and the Heisman Trophy winner at the time, Herschel Walker. In October of 1992, Auburn actually officially retired his football jersey number 34. So at Auburn, you cannot wear number 34 anymore after 1992 because it was retired.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So Jackson was selected with the first overall pick in 1986 by Tampa Bay. But he refused to go because he insisted they tried to derail his baseball career because he got injured during a practice game. And so he refused to go and play for Tampa Bay, which is why he ended up with the Kansas City Royals.
Right.
So,
yeah, Tampa.
Yeah. So he refused because he feels like they did it on purpose to cost him his baseball season, and so he ended up playing for Kansas City, which at that time they were the defending World Series championships. He was not drafted like way on top, but still he was drafted during the 1986 amateur draft. He signed a 3-year contract with the Kansas City Royals worth over $1 million. And so so that's kind of why he went to actually play Major League Baseball before he played in the NFL, was because he refused to go to Tampa Bay.
And why wouldn't he?
He did not want to go.
Right. Nobody wanted to go there.
Not in the 80s anyways, right?
Because he felt that he was shafted. So that's kind of why he ended up playing baseball. Anyway, so in fast forward 1989, right? He went to the American League All-Star. He made the American League All-Star team. He was named MVP for his play on both offense and defense. In the top of the first inning, he caught Pedro Guerrero's 2-out line drive to the left center to save 2 runs. Then he led the bottom of the first half to a home run against Rick Ruschel of the San Francisco Giants. So basically, even though he was drafted as an amateur, Bo Jackson, if people know Bo Jackson's attitude is, I'm going to go in and I'm going to show them who I am, right? And so he did. He made a huge save, and he hit a home run. He hit a home run right after, right? So he hit a home run right after. So in the second inning, again, he beat the throw on a potential double play and then hit a home run, right? So he is the second player in all-star history of baseball to hit a home run and steal a base in the same game. The only other person to do that was Willie Mays. So Bo Jackson, so Bo Jackson is in good company.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he's in good company. All right. And then, of course, everybody remembers July 11th, 1990, against the Orioles. He did his famous wall run, right? Everybody remembers he ran up the wall.
He just went.
Yeah.
Sad.
When he caught a ball 6 strides away from the wall, and he went full tilt, right, and caught that shit, right? So that is something else that Bo Jackson is known for. Also, I don't know if you knew, but before each game, he liked to do target practice with a bow and arrow. So that's what he would do. Bo Jackson, Bo Jackson in the Kansas City Royals clubhouse used to kind of like target practice with a bow and arrow. So that's what he did to kill time. So again, anyway,
why not?
That's him. I don't know if you guys know, but he also played with the White Sox for a little bit. But then
yes, he did. Yes, as a matter of fact,
he played for the White Sox.
Never mind.
He played for the White Sox. He didn't have as much of obviously a huge impact as he did when he was in the Kansas City Royals, but he did go play for the White Sox. But basically what happened is, which I'll go into his football career in a little bit, he got injured during football, and that really is what took him out of the baseball limelight. So that is Jackson. He finished his career in 1994 with the California Angels. Again, he was cut from there when he got injured. And so that's his baseball career. And that's just baseball. And I know this is a football segment, but I had to explain. I had to show how good of an athlete Bo Jackson was.
Great. Right.
He was that good.
He could have run track and field if he wanted to, but he knew there was no money in it, right? And to say F you to Tampa, he's like, forget you. I'm going to go play baseball. Dominated there.
Yeah.
And that's just baseball. So anyway, choosing to sleep in again during the 1987 NFL draft. That's when he found out that he was drafted by the Los Angeles Raiders. So he decided to sleep in during the draft, and that's when the Los Angeles Raiders gave him a call, like, "Hey, we drafted you."
Come on.
Initially, Jackson made it known that baseball was his focus at the time, but apparently, the owner at the time, Al Davis, was a huge fan of his. So he didn't care. He was fine. He was like, go ahead, do your baseball. He was perfectly fine with him playing both baseball and football. He offered him a 5-year, $7.4 million contract where Jackson would be permitted to play an entire baseball season with the Royals, and then would report to the Raiders when his MLB season was done. So if it meant that he would miss some NFL games, Davis didn't care because he really trusted and believed in Bo Jackson. At the time, he was the highest salary of any non-quarterback player in NFL history. That was at this time. He received a $500,000 signing bonus plus another $500,000 if he returned to actually play football. Right? So so at that time they paid him $1 million so he can come play.
Yeah. Right. How small that is now.
Yeah. I know it's small now, but at the time, right?
At the time,
so when he finally played with the Raiders was in Week 8 against the New England Patriots, where he rushed for a total of 37 yards and 8 carries. Jackson shared the backfield with Marcus Allen at the time, who was a who was also an All-Pro and former Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
But
Super Bowl MVP.
Exactly. But Bo Jackson ended up beating him out for that spot, right? So Bo Jackson gets a spot as fullback. And so come Monday Night Football, right?
In Seattle.
Exactly. See, you know what's going on. See, you know what's coming up. Right?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
His rookie season, right? His rookie season, Monday Night Football against Seattle Seahawks in Week 12. So basically, Bo Jackson was the Michael Jordan of talking shit, right? he took shit personally, right? So prior to the game, Seahawks linebacker Brian Bosworth said he could contain Jackson, right? He said, I got this guy. He's not going to do anything. So what happened?
Right.
Jackson responded by running over him on his way to a touchdown.
You said it nicely. He flattened his ass.
Yeah. You were being polite about it.
Right.
Yeah.
You flattened Brian.
So he took it personally. He took that personally. So again, the Michael Jordan of that era, right? He's like, oh, okay. Yeah. He took it personally, and he ran over him. And also,
you have a clip of that, huh?
Yeah. He also made a 91-yard run in the second quarter, by the way. Oh, there it goes.
He's like, bye. See you, Brian.
Like, get off
touchdown
me.
For me.
Get off of me.
Get off me.
Bro, that's Bo Jackson for you, right? He was
baby.
Killing it. Okay, he was just killing it. So again, in the second quarter, he made a 91-yard run. He was untouched down the sideline. He rushed 221 yards that night and scored 2 touchdowns. He added a third with a reception. So again, just killed it. Okay.
Wow.
So I just killed it. Basically, by the way, they're saying that it's still a record to be broken in Monday Night Football.
Really? That's a Monday Night Football record, 220 some yards?
Yep. Jackson's 221 yards on November 30th in 1987. After his first NFL carry is still a Monday Night Football record. So who's gonna break that? So someone's gotta break his record. Again, unfortunately, in 1991, he suffered a NFL career-ending hip injury, where they basically said your hips are trash. The doctors just told him your hips are trash. You just can't do it anymore. And so
it was kind of a freak play too. He was diving into the end zone. Nobody I think even really hit him either. And he's all of a sudden just pulled up and he was like,
his leg pulled back by the linebacker number 50.
Yeah, basically the doctors told him he basically lost all the cartilage that supported his hip. So it was done. Yeah, it was done. He was done.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, he was done.
That'll leave a mark.
So that's why he had to retire from baseball and football. So that's basically where his baseball and football career ended. But in 1995, he got his bachelor's degree in family and child development in honor of his mama, because his mama had passed away a few years before, but he promised her, and he got his degree in memory of his mama. So he finished school to make that promise to his mom. So he does have a bachelor's degree in family and child development from Auburn.
There you go.
And you guys know he appeared on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He started doing all his acting stuff. He
had a cartoon.
Right, exactly.
He was in the All-Stars cartoon, right? With
he did some fun stuff afterwards, and he still does. He tours. You guys know he does a lot of stuff still to this day. Like he does this whole circuit, he does speeches. He still pops up on TV, right? And so Bo Jackson.
My favorite was an episode of Married with Children that he did. That was one of my favorites.
Bo Jackson.
They kept calling the next door neighbor Bruce Jenner. And it's just funny that now Bruce Jenner is a woman. So it's kind of funny now. And Married with Children after all those years got it right.
And we know Bo Jackson, also his Nike shoes, right? And he had all these commercials. Y'all know, right? He had his Nike commercials.
Bo knows, baby.
Bo knows, yes.
Bo knows, man.
Bo knows.
All right, so again, all praise to Bo Jackson. Like I don't think a lot of people realize that you could have killed it on track and field. You could have been in the Olympics, bro, running track and field too, man. Like,
absolutely. Bo would have done it. Bo did do it, and it's a shame that nowadays these kids don't know. Like he's a folklore to them. You know what I mean? But then it's funny because when we look at it, it's kind of like you think about it now, and it's kind of like, wow, did we actually see that?
Anthony actually knew that his mama His mama named him after her favorite actor. That's why he's called Vincent Edward.
Oh yeah, Vincent Edward Jackson. That's right.
She named him after her favorite actor. So yes, but people don't know his real name, so I just went by Bo Jackson.
Right. Nobody knows anything but Bo knows.
Bo Jackson.
Yes, sir.
You're correct.
Yes,
Bo
sir.
knows. That was a good tagline. I gotta say.
He was at one point in the early '90s. He was him and Dion. They were on top of
everywhere.
Dion.
I mean, but if you play two sports like that, I mean, come on, you have to. Yeah. But you know what's funny? You know what's crazy about that? And I thank you so much for that, Delilah, because that is so huge. I love hearing about Bo, one of my all-time favorite athletes. And one person I think that just by his name and all his allure alone, he should be in the Hall of Fame. But obviously, because he got hurt, he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But we had that conversation before. But he should be in there. I agree. I actually agreed that he was one of those guys. He needs to be in there.
He should be, right. But one of the things about Bo, if he didn't get that injury, he was somebody that I feel like if he would have retired, he was somebody that if he came back and said, I want to still play at like mid-40s, I'd be like, yeah, he can do it.
Right.
He can do it. He might not be a stud, but he'll definitely do it. But then
you're right. You're right, Anthony. They did, and I was a huge Deion Sanders fan. Like I like Bo Jackson, but I love Deion Sanders, man. And he also played baseball. He also played baseball. Do you know how mad I was? So one day, not you guys, but one day I was like, oh, Deion Sanders played baseball because they were like, oh, you can't do baseball and football, and I was naming like Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. Tell me why some guy was mansplaining to me, Deion Sanders. Yeah. Deion Sanders didn't play baseball. And I'm like, excuse you, sir?
Oh, wow.
He said that, did he? Right.
Yeah, did he really say that?
I was like, fact check yourself. And so I literally copy and pasted all his baseball career, like, sir.
Yo, bro, I don't know who that is, but bro, go that way. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here with that.
What is that?
But look, and Deion's another one who has this ability. He's probably the GOAT at his position at